Here's the thing to do. If I'm going to make a video series about this, I probably have to start talking to the camera. So here I am. I am trying to buy a motorcycle. I went and rode it already. It's in really good shape. It's an 03 XR650 single cylinder dual sport that I'm thinking about turning into a lightweight adventure bike. I kind of want to do a YouTube series. I want to make a series of videos about traveling cheaply, maybe with the challenge of traveling to Patagonia from here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I live, for less than the price of just buying a GS outright. So it's like $25,000. I think that's pretty doable. If I get this bike, I think I can get it around $4,500. I'll probably have to do some more stuff to it. I'll definitely have to do some more stuff to it. I'll have to get luggage and camping gear and all that. I don't have any of that. So we'll see how that goes. It feels really weird to be maybe spending $4,500 right now. I'm super nervous about it. It makes me feel really weird to go buy this bike. I already have a motorcycle, I have a Miata, I have the camper van, so it's just silly for me to be buying more stuff when I'm not positive that it makes any sense for me right now. But I really like this bike, and I've been wanting one for a long time. I've been just drawn to an XR because they're kind of large bikes. The seat height is too tall for a lot of people, but I'm 6'4", so it seems like it makes sense for me. I rode it and it felt like it fit my body just perfectly. I went on a really short ride around the neighborhood in it. I think I'll probably go for a longer ride this time and make sure that it feels good. I didn't even have my helmet, so I'll bring my helmet and really go through the gears and make sure that it all seems good. I'm pretty sure it does. It's got under 5,000 miles on it, which is crazy. It's a 20-year-old bike. And the guy said that he got it just 8 months ago or something from an engineer in Colorado, so it's got a bunch of the right mods done to it already, which is good and bad. A lot of people think that you should be buying a bike as close to stock as you can get, like an untouched bike, so that you don't have to deal with the mistakes other people have made modifying it. But this one looks well modified and it runs like a champ. I guess I'll text the guy back now. I don't even know if this is still recording. It is. It feels funny to be talking to the camera. I don't really do that ever, but if I'm going to start making videos, this is what life is going to be. Who knows? Feels very funny. So I'll have to spend $4,500 and then spend another $1,000 on gear at least to get going. I'm going to try to spend, I'll get a real pair of motocross boots, but I'll probably get a used pair, and I'll get some actual riding gear, but I'll probably like use non-motorcycle rain gear and stuff like that. We'll see what I end up with. Big step is just buying the motorcycle. It feels very much like when I bought my camper van. I bought it for $3,500, kind of on a whim, just to force myself. I had wanted to buy a van for so long that I kind of forced myself to buy it and just deal with what I needed to do to it later. And it probably took me a year to start converting it to a camper van, but I love that thing. I've gotten so much use out of it. It's great. So hopefully I feel the same about this motorcycle. It's a good experience, and it leads to good things. I can only imagine that unless I crash and die or break all my parts, I can't imagine feeling like it's a bad decision. So I'll check in later. This is weird. This is weird. I did it. I bought an XR650L. I went down to Albuquerque and I took a nice long ride on it. It seemed great still. So now I have the weird stage between excitement and buyer's remorse. I don't know what I've done. I already have a motorcycle, so there's, you know, it just feels weird to have bought another one. It seems like there's no reason for it, but my other motorcycle is a 72 CB750 that I can't get to run right, so it does make sense for me to have this to do the kind of traveling and the kind of riding that I want to do. So I should get it home and get it out of the van and mess around with it. It came with a bunch of extras. I've got bags and a windshield and some other stuff. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's got LED turn signals. Battery-powered LED turn signals. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know how that works. I think it might be a race thing. But I've got it, so that's exciting. There she is in the back of my van. Let's get home and get her unloaded. Alright. So, I got the bike back. I took it for a little ride yesterday. Out on the dirt to Diablo Canyon. Nice little ride. I was kind of sick. I picked up a stomach bug the day before and hadn't been doing anything, so it was good to get out there. It was also my first time riding a dirt bike. It was just a dirt road, but it had some good washboard and a little bit of sand. The sand really sunk my stomach the first time I hit it. It was pretty funny, but it was half never having ridden a motorcycle in the dirt and half being sick. But here it is. The bike came with a box of extras, a pair of Wolfman saddlebags, which is fantastic. I'm excited about that. There's a windshield. It's got this little guy. I totaled up the list of the mods that the bike had on it, and I don't think I even got all of them, and it was over 2,000 in mods. So I'm really excited about that. Most of them are things that I would definitely want to do. It's got the tank I want, although I would want the clear one. Again, I don't love the red on these bikes. I doubt that I'm going to do a ton to change it, but I might. It's got these Pro Bend handguards. It's got an oil cooler. That's the good oil cooler kit. I think the bash plate is from XRs only, which I'm perfectly happy with. It rattles a little bit at certain frequencies, but that's alright. It's got the XR600 side cover right here. So it's had the conversion to a lightweight battery, I'm pretty sure, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. It's had the whole tail cleaned up with the 650R tail light on there. It's got the other bash bar and bag support for this side. The other one is already on there. There's a bunch of things that I want to change about it, but none of them are very major. I want to de-sticker the whole thing, and this Honda sticker is weirdly placed and tiny, and I would rather just not have it. The Race Tech sticker over there, I don't want to have it. There's a Uni sticker on the other side, Uni air filters. There's this guy on the swing arm, which I may or may not leave. I think it might be kind of a protector. I don't hate that one so much, so I might leave it. There's some parking permit stickers on both sides of the fork under there. Maybe able to see it. Yeah. This guy here, take that off. I think it's probably like a college parking permit. That's the first thing. I want to just get those off of there. Get it all cleaned up. I want to change the color of the bash plate. I don't like that red. It drives me a little bit crazy when there's like a bunch of different types of red on a thing, or blue, or whatever the color is. And then this rack, I have a feeling it's gonna go, but if it does stay, then I'm probably gonna paint it black. It's kind of, I don't know, it's sturdy enough, it seems like, but it sticks so far back past the rear axle that I doubt I'll ever load anything of any weight on it anyway, so I might just take it off. If I could convince all four of you who see this video of something, it would be, if your bike came from the factory red, you don't have to put every new piece of anything that you buy back onto the bike red. If you don't buy it from the factory red, that red is not going to match the factory's red color. So just go with black most of the time. The first thing I'm going to do here is cut some little notches into this bash plate where it looks like it's going to interfere with the oil cooler. Then I'm going to try to get rid of all the red, obviously. I saw a trick online that said if you get the easy off in the yellow can, which has all the terrible things in it, you might be able to get the anodizing off of your aluminum. So if I can figure out which direction is up here, I will start spraying this horrible chemical all over my bare hands. Okay, you can see I didn't actually spray it all over my hands, but I did get a good amount on my fingertips, and unless you are looking to commit some crimes and melt off your fingerprints, I do not advise you do the same. Even though I sacrificed my fingerprints to it, you can see that it just faded to a cute little shade of pink, so I went back and tried it again with twice as much easy off for twice as long, and it did not make a huge difference. I scrub off that second attempt here, rinse it off, and discover that just about all I've gotten for this try is a pretty strange pattern on the inside, kind of a marbleized look, which is pretty cool for an art project, but for a motorcycle it's not what you want, seeing as how it's eaten into the aluminum itself. Even so, I want to try it one more time, give it another chance. I remember seeing this trick for a paint stripper, where if you put it in a plastic bag or cover it with plastic, it traps the heat or the fumes or doesn't let it dry out or something, and it works much better. So I give that a shot here in a garbage bag, and I don't really have any more luck with that. So I'm just going to break out the sander and move on to what I think I knew was inevitable the whole time. I'm just going to paint this thing black. It's interesting, you can see the powder flying off of it. That easy off did kind of turn the coating real powdery, and it came off fairly easy in most spots. There you can really see it. What I'm doing is mostly just trying to key the surface and make it so that the paint has something to bite into, but I'm also trying to get the pink off of the places where it'll be most obvious when this thing gets damaged by rock chips and falling over on the ground, so that when the black paint gets chipped off, it'll just look like aluminum underneath. I do kind of like how this looks. If I were trying to make some kind of rat bike, I would stick with it, but I'm not really, so I put some self-etching primer on it, get a coat of black on it. The first one's kind of light. Get the second one on here, nice and heavy. And then let it dry overnight and go look at that nice run in the corner the next day. But it looks good. I like how it came out. So now I can get it back on the bike. But first, I want to try to stop this plate from vibrating too much. What happens is the engine hits certain frequencies and this thing gets vibrated and makes a lot of noise, and it's really annoying, especially if you're just cruising along at one of those frequencies. So I stick this weather stripping on the bottom of the frame rails, and I bought these rubber grommets to keep the metal from touching the frame directly, and it worked really well. I did have to risk the end of my fingertips here to bore out the hole because it wouldn't fit on my bolts, but I got there and it made a big difference afterwards. I really liked it. The installation process on the thing is really annoying because you've got this weird little sandwich clamp thing that floats around and it's hard to get your bolt to set up in it. But once you do finally get it figured out, it's not horribly bad, and it does hold the thing on there pretty well. So there it is. I think it looks really good. Honestly, it really just disappears on the bike. Since you're looking at the bike from such a high angle, you really don't even notice the thing is there, which is good in my book. Much better than having a mismatched red thing on every part of your bike, as you can see here in this next shot. I can count 5 different reds here. You've got the original red on the fender. You've got the corner of the aftermarket tank, the side of the seat, the Big Gun Evo R logo, and the thing we're going to work on right now, which is the droopy, clumsy, oversized, ugly, weird, too far back rack. And although I'm going to have a lot of trouble getting these bolts out, which are the longest bolts on this bike, and they've got a separate nut under the fender that I got to get a wrench on, I am going to take it off and turn this rack black.
I will, however, spare you the dropping of the tools and the swearing and the fumbling and cut right to the chase. And by the chase, I of course mean sanding, or more specifically red Scotch-Briting. After a little cleaning, I'm going to hit the whole thing with the red Scotch-Brite pad just to scuff it up, make sure the paint sticks to it. I'm not going to put primer on it because I don't actually think that I will use it for very long, but I know that I will like it better if it is black. So I will keep scrubbing on it on all these little weird surfaces in all these weird little holes just to try to get the paint to stick well enough, even though I don't actually think that I'm going to keep this rack on the bike for very long. I've seen one online that I like much better, but I have a little glitch in my brain where I try to save every little thing. So since I know that I'm trying to save money on this bike and that at least for the time being I am going to run this rack and I hate the red, that can only mean that I'm going to cover this thing with black paint, and that can be the only solution that I will find. Most of what's involved here in painting this piece is, walking around it and staring at it, making a tiny little spray, staring at it some more, going to another angle and staring at it some more. Bend down, stare at it. Come back to it for its final coat and make sure that you get a nice thick coat on it, spraying it directly at your camera lens. One more nice stare, and we can call it done. Let it dry and throw it back on the bike. Then it's obviously time to take a nice long look at it. We got a lot done. We took all the stickers off. I got 2 of the 3 worst red things off the bike, and so next time I see you, we'll go for a ride.
I made a YouTube video and you watched it. That's crazy. If all went according to plan, there's 2 more that you can watch after this one. This was the first one. So go and do that if you liked them. If you didn't like them, I would love to know why. If you have any advice for me, I would love to hear that. If you liked it, I would also love to hear why you liked them. It is January, which is probably the time I'm posting these. I'm trying to get them out by the end of January. My bike is here with me. It has been a cold and snowy winter here in Santa Fe, so I don't have any real reason to go outside. So I've been working on editing these, and there are going to be many more to come. I hope you like them.